Hello and welcome to day 16 of our fall daily draw. My name is Miss Ashley and I am going to teach you how to draw a bunny. So let's go ahead and get started by taking out a piece of paper and grabbing our pencils, but I'll be using a sharpie so you can see my lines. Now the first thing we need to do is make sure that our paper is vertical, which means up and down. And we're going to go ahead and start by drawing our square in the top right corner. And since today is November 16th, we're going to go ahead and write the number 16. Now you can write that 16 however fancy you want. But I am going to go back in and fill in some of those areas. So it doesn't have to look absolutely perfect. Again, just make sure you are using that pencil. Now let's go ahead and get started with our rabbit. Now the first thing we need to do is we need to draw kind of this egg shape that's lying on its side by drawing it bigger on the left side, and then it comes at a point on the right. Now this is going to be our bunny's nose. However, we do want to go in at a curve and then another curve. And then we'll add a small line for the nose. Now for those eyes, you can draw the eyes however you would like. How I'm going to do it, I'm going to draw a rainbow with a small curve. And I'll also add just a C shape just to put that highlight in the eye. Now let's go ahead and get started with those ears. I'm going to first start inside on the left side of my rabbit's head and curve up at a point and back down. Now we're going to do that same step again, only this time it is going to be a little bit smaller. Inside the ear, curve up, and then curve back down. So there we have our first ear. Now for the other ear, because we won't see the inside of the ear, all we need to do is travel up that head, curve up, and then down. Now we'll go ahead and get started with the body by starting underneath the head on the left side. We're going to curve down. Now we'll come back and finish the rest of the bunny down here, but we do want to go back to the head on the bottom right side. Curve out and in, and then go in just a little bit to curve out and down to connect to the back of your bunny. Now before we add more legs, let's go ahead and add those arms first. I'm going to start here, curve down, come up here, and curve down. So there's the arm closest to us. Now it looks like our bunny is holding its paws together, so we do want to just bring this curve down here to show that there is another arm. And then we'll draw a backward C for the other leg. Then we're going to go ahead and add those feet by curving out, straight line, and back to the bottom of our bunny. Curve out and down, and add a curved line in each foot. Now our bunny definitely needs to have a tail, so I'm going to curve up and just add a little bit of fluff by making sure that those point up. Now that we are done with our pencil, we actually still need to use that eraser though, but I'll be showing you in red marker where to erase. So you can see we no longer need this line here. Also, the lines that show the back of the rabbit's head, and also this line here, because that arm is closest to us and is blocking part of the chest. And that is it for our drawing of our bunny. Now you can leave it like this, or you can actually push it a little bit further. Here's my bunny right here, but I made it so my bunny is looking up at something in above. So I have a little ladybug on some leaves. You can go ahead and take a moment to draw that if you'd want, or maybe you want your bunny to be looking at a butterfly or maybe some falling leaves. But when you are done, you can go ahead and put your pencil away and take out a Sharpie. And we're going to go ahead and outline all of those pencil lines, making sure that that cap is on the back and we're holding low and going slow. And I'm just going to make sure that my 16 is visible because today is November 16th. I'm just going to go through and make sure that my 16 is pretty bold by filling in those areas. Now you can do this in any color if you'd like to. Maybe you'd want to do it in red or brown, but today I'm just going to be doing it in black. Just make sure to fill in those areas. Don't leave any space white. Now before I outline my bunny, I'm going to go over and outline those leaves and the ladybug. I'm just going to fill in that head too and the body. So there are my leaves with my little ladybug. Now I'm going to go ahead and outline all of my pencil lines on my bunny. All right. And as you can see, I made sure to erase those pencil lines on the back of my rabbit's head as well as where the nose was. Now you can also take that Sharpie and fill in those eyes. And I actually added a little bit of fluff to that chest. That's optional, you don't have to do that. Just make sure you are getting all of your pencil lines. Alright, so there is my bunny. So I'm going to go ahead and put away my Sharpie and take out my eraser so I can erase any of those pencil lines that I might see on my picture. Now I opted for not drawing those whiskers quite yet, just because I find that those lines are pretty thick, and so I'll be adding the whiskers with my colored pencil. Go ahead and take that moment to erase those pencil lines just so we don't see them anymore. Now the first thing we're going to be doing after we erase our picture is we're just going to go ahead and take some markers. Now for our markers, I'm just going to be using this iguana green, and I'm just gonna add some lines into my leaves. Now you don't have to use the same art materials that I'm using for my picture. That is totally up to you. And I can also add a little bit of grass as well. You can make some of it longer or shorter, that's up to you. Now, once you are done with that, I'm actually going to switch to chalk pastels already. And you can fill in your entire bunny with your markers if you'd like. However, I really like how soft those chalk pastels look on our picture. So what I am first going to do is I'm just going to take this kind of peachy color and I'm just going to fill in that part of the ear. And I pressed very softly just because I don't want it to be too dark, and I'm blending. Now if you'd like to, you can make some of it a little bit darker just to show that shading. But just make sure as you are blending, you are filling in that entire space with that color. I'm also going to be taking my red and adding just a little bit at the bottom and pushing that color up. And if you have that chalk dust, you can always tap your paper on the table. Now I'll be switching to my kind of this tannish gold, and I am going to be filling in parts of my bunny. Now I would watch first before you color because I do want to leave some parts of my bunny white. So for my bunny, I'm just going to leave that part in the front white, but I am going to make sure that those arms are colored as well as the legs, but be careful with the belly. And I do want a little bit of the feet colored as well. Now a little bit of chalk dust can go such a long way, so I recommend not using a whole lot, especially because we want this to look like a nice soft picture. And I'm just going to blend, pushing that dust around. You can blend by swirling your finger, you can go back and forth. Just really try your best to spread that color. And also be extra careful as you go around those ears. And you can always push that dust if there's some areas that you need a little bit more. Just keep blending. All right, now I do want some of those areas to be just a little bit darker, so I am going to be taking my lighter brown and just adding a bit of shading to the back of my bunny. Not a whole lot though. And then I'm just going to take my finger and run it back and forth. So that way I've got that nice shading right there. All right. Now for my bunny, I do want some nice bit of rosy cheeks on it. I know bunnies can't blush, but I do want just like that nice softness. So you can take a darker red as well as the lighter red. If you have a lot of dust though, make sure you do tap it on the table and just gently swirl, just for that little bit of cute blush. Alright, I do want to color those leaves now, so I'm just going to be taking my green and going over those leaves. And then I'm going to blend. Now your fingers may be a little bit dirty from other colors, so I recommend cleaning those hands or just switching fingers. So right now I'm using this finger right here to spread that green, just so the red doesn't mix with it, because red and green will make a kind of a brown color. Then once I'm done with that, I'm just going to take that same green and add it to the grass. And then I'll blend in circular motions. Now also, if you really want to push that grass a little bit further, you can go back to your marker and just add some more shading underneath. Add some lines, just for some grass. That is totally up to you. Now also, I'm just going to leave the background white. However, I do want that ladybug to be just a little bit colored. So I am actually going to be taking out my colored pencils. I'm just going to color that tiny little ladybug. I'm going to make sure that I give that ladybug some spots. By using my Sharpie. Alright, if you want to push any of those colors a little bit further, you can always do so. Maybe you want to make that back just a little bit darker so you can get that dark brown. Maybe you want the just the ears to be a little bit darker, so you can always take that brown as well. Just make sure you're not using a whole lot of chalk dust, because a little bit goes a long way. But you can color your bunny however you would like. You could leave it all white, or maybe you want it gray, or maybe you want it spotted. That is totally up to you. But that is it for day 16 of our fall daily draw. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you had a lot of fun, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.